Hey kids, welcome back to the next episode of the Incredible Kids Podcast. My name is Muroff, and I will be your host through this incredible journey. We are going to meet many incredible kids. They are going to share with us their stories. Some of them super cool and different like you've never heard before, and some you may say are just ordinary, but all of them incredible. If you have great ideas, email me today at ikidspodcast@gmail.com. And now it's time for
Incredible Kids!
Hi everybody, I'm here at the airport. Okay, 1 second. I'm trying not to make so much noise. I don't be so loud, but also give me a thumbs up if you hear me. Thanks, guys. Okay, so just so you see that I'm in the airport, just got here. My flight was supposed to I went to Eretz Yisrael for 3 days. I didn't go to Eretz Yisrael in 9 years. But I finally went, and I'm going to tell you all about it maybe next week and the next week. I'm going to tell you more and more about my trip because I went for myself a little bit, but I really went for all of us. And I can't wait to share a lot about that with everybody really, really soon. We've been talking about like Eretz Yisrael and Israel the whole like last 9 months since the war started and we started the Tehillim army. Our whole life became about that. So felt like I had to go. I had to daven and I had to go meet like real people that are going through really, really, really hard times. Anyways, guess how many days I didn't sleep in? Show me with your fingers. Think it's 1? You think it's 2? You think it's 3? I didn't sleep since Shabbos. Anyways, Baruch Hashem, I'm so lucky that Hashem gave me strength to do it. And then coming home, my flight was delayed like 5 hours. So I was supposed to do this in my studio with my children, who I can't wait to see if you're on. Hi. But here I am. So thank you for being here. And we're very, 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 very lucky tonight because we have 2 things that we're going to be doing in addition to our Tehillim, which, by the way, if you guys remember when I went to Poland a few months ago, I was very, very, very upset with myself because I forgot to bring my Incredible Kids Tehillim, and it really, really bothered me. But on this trip, it was like the first thing that went into my suitcase. Not just that, I brought like a whole bunch of them. I brought my own, and I also brought, and like I was telling you, you're going to hear more about my trip. Throughout my trip in Eretz Yisrael, I gave some Tehillim to children your age who, really use them, really could feel like they could use them. By the way, I might have left it on the plane. That would have been funny, Hopefully the next person who sits in my seat, oh no, I have it here. That would have been like a good story. Like you found the Tehillim on the plane and then you're like, oh my gosh, I want to be Jewish, whatever. No, my Tehillim's here. So Rabbi Pesach Kron will not write that story. Okay, so I have 2 treats for you tonight. One of them is that Rabbi Miro is going to share with us a beautiful Kiddush Hashem story, because besides for saying Tehillim, besides for davening and doing mitzvos, we always need to remember to make a Kiddush Hashem in our lives, in our private lives and publicly wherever we go. And he has a great story that some of you might know and some of you might not have ever heard before. And he's also a really good storyteller and speaker. We're excited to have him on, like a Rebbe. He'll tell us more. Tonight is a very special night because, like there are still so many hostages. In Hebrew, we call them chatufim. And they're, right near where I was just now. But Hashem, really needs to send big, big Yeshuos so that we could bring them all home. We could bring them all home, and we will. And tonight we have Mrs. Danino, who I'm not sure if she's on the call yet, but I'll see soon. She's going to share a few words with us. So, we could all daven extra hard for all of them to come home, for their, for to be shalom in Eretz Yisrael and in the world for all the Jewish people. And tonight is dedicated for her son Ori to return, actually. So on the flyer, if you saw, I put a picture of her son Ori, and we said we're davening that Ori should come home. And also, I told this to Mrs. Danino. who only talks Hebrew. So when she talks, I'll translate for her. Actually, in the airport in Eretz Yisrael in Tel Aviv in Ben Gurion Airport, there's tons of pictures of all of the chayalim, of all of the hostages. And of course, I saw her son. I saw her son all over Eretz Yisrael because everybody needs to remember to daven always. So I wanted you to see that this is what it looks like, and this is what he looks like, and this is what it looks like when you go to the airport in Eretz Yisrael. Right now, I'm in the airport in America, but in Eretz Yisrael, in the airport, there's pictures like this of all of the hostages when you walk into the airport and when you come out of the airport. And it just reminds you that they're real people with real families, and we need real tefillos so that everything could become good once again. Okay, so I'm gonna first look to see, and this is being recorded so that I know that the timing was like really hard because I kept pushing it off. So I can't believe that so many of you are actually here, and it's so beautiful. What a Kiddush Hashem, right? And I'm gonna, what's it called? I'm gonna post the recording because I can't promise tonight. It might be a little hectic when I get home. But this way everybody could be able to see it and benefit from it later, if the time didn't work. So let me just change the view so I can see where our guests are. And tonight we're going to be seeing 2 prakim of Tehillim. Someone's holding up a sign that says, "I can't hear you." Is that true? You really can't hear me? You could hear me? So I don't know, maybe you have to raise your volume. I think maybe you have to raise your volume. Okay, so we're going to start off with Mrs. Danino, if it's okay. I'm going to start off with you. I don't want to keep you waiting. I know you're traveling. So you could unmute, like this. Einav? Okay. שלום.
שומעים אותי?
את יכולה, כן, שומעים,
יופי.
כן. אז את יכולה לדבר בעברית ואני, את תרגם, whatever.
נתרגם.
אין לי,
אוקיי.
נכון.
אני
שלום.
רציתי לדבר
תודה.
על, קודם כל שלום לכולם. רציתי לדבר על פרק כ"ז בתהילים. פרק כ"ז בתהילים בעצם כתוב על אורי. ודוד
Okay,
השם
she
אורי
said
ואישי.
Okay, so she said that she wants to tell everybody about Parak Chaf, Eagle Parak Chaf Zayin of Tehillim, which is Ledavid Hashem Ori, because that's your son's name, Ori. So it's like about him. Okay.
בפרק הזה רשום שאורי נולד, בחרתי את השם מהפרק הזה. ו-25 שנה אני קוראת את הפרק ואני לא מבינה מה המשמעות של הפרק. ביום
She read this
שאורי...
parak for 25 years and she never understood like what it was about.
היום שאורי נחטף הבנתי שכל הפרק כתוב על אורי.
And the day that her son Ori wasn't out with her anymore, she realized that this whole parak is really about him.
כתוב שזה יהיה ברעים, כתוב שזה יהיה בסוכות, כתוב שתהיה מלחמה, כתוב שזה יהיה בידי חמאס.
Right, it talks about that it happened on Sukkot, right? Because it was like Simchat Torah. It was like right around the same time. So that's what it's talking. That whole parak is that we say that during like Elul Tishrei, right? It was that time, that Kufa Shel Hashana, nachon?
כתוב שאבא ואמא יעזבוני, והמשפט האחרון שכתוב שם זה קווה אל השם.
Wow. It says in the, it's right. In that thing we say it. Some of you are going to say it like at the end of davening when it starts to be Chodesh Elul in a few weeks, and we say Abba ve'ima azavuni, like my parents left me. So it's not exactly how it happened, but it feels that way. Like he's not together with his parents. And the end of the parak says Kave el Hashem, that we have to have hope in Hashem. Hashem is gonna save us. Oh, I'm being told I need to leave. They said I could. I came on the flight with United. Okay. Oh, they told me I could sit. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah. After customs? After customs? So can I do something? Can I can I have 1 minute to finish? I see there's still a line. No, I'll do it in line. Can I hold it in line? Yeah, I'm not allowed to hold it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, but I asked permission first. The maybe I asked the wrong person. I'm gonna say goodbye. Thank you. Okay.
אנחנו צריכים להבין שמהמשפט האחרון שזה יקבל השם.
Okay, אני צריכה לעזוב. זה גם זו לטובה over here at the airport.
אנחנו צריכים לדעת שכל מה הקדוש ברוך הוא עושה לנו זה הכי טוב לנו. אין דבר רע שיורד מהשמיים.
We're always thinking about you. כולם חושבים ומתפללים לאורי ולכולם.
תודה רבה רבה. תודה.
Okay. Everybody else, we're going to come onto the sending nishikot. Everybody else, we're going to come back onto the call if you want, with Rabbi Miro. I apologize a million times. We're going to come back onto the call in 5 minutes. Okay? 5 minutes, everyone. Okay, everybody. I see that so many of you came back on. That is so awesome. So if you don't know what just happened, basically, yeah, like a, Gam Zoom Latova situation once again, just, one thing after the next. My plane was 5 hours delayed, and then we couldn't get off the plane. And when we couldn't get off the plane, I couldn't even update everyone because the Wi-Fi wasn't working and the phone service wasn't working. Once we got off the plane, they said I could sit there. I was about to start, and they said, you can't sit here. Who said you could sit there? So I moved there. Uh-oh, what is that? Oops. And so now somebody was not very nice to me. I don't know if you're able to hear him talking, but just a little lesson for me is that because I know that Rabbi Miro is about to talk about making a Kiddush Hashem, I had every reason to be like, I really think I was right in this situation. I asked permission and someone told me where I could sit. And this man said, you can't sit here. Nobody lets you sit here. And instead of saying like, yeah, I don't care what you say, I said, okay, I'll move. And that could be very powerful because we as Jews have that power to make a Kiddush Hashem. So actually, I think if it should happen on any occasion, now I see you. Hi, hold on. I'm going to unmute you. It was a reminder for me as well. Rabbi Miro, thank you so much for being here. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that this was such a crazy delayed situation.
That's okay. My pleasure. And like you said, Gamzu Latova, Mina Shemaim.
Always. Okay, so I want it's the stage is yours. And yeah, let's hear what your story is and what message you want to share for all of these incredible kids over here.
Okay, great. So first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm told that the minhag is to start with a couple of shout outs. In my opinion, shout outs are kind of like mishaberachs in shul. And that is that, like, when you're in shul and there are the mishaberachs between aliyahs, you end up sometimes with that guy. He gets up there and he goes Moshe Baruch ben David, ben Yitzchak, and he's sitting there, he's thinking, he's trying to figure out what the person's name is, and he's going on and on and on. So it's sort of similar with the shout outs. You have to have just your few and hopefully not take up the whole show with the shout outs. So just one important shout out to one family that I like to call attention to, and that is, of course, the Jacob family. That is my nieces and nephews, Mordechai Simcha, Yehuda, Chana, and Yodi Jacob. So shout out to all of you. And they're actually the ones who wanted me to be on the show and sort of put in a word for me. Say shekayach. So first of all, I can't see. Am I supposed to see everyone else, or I'm not supposed to?
It depends if you put it on gallery view. It's probably like spotted on your screen. Play around with it.
Okay. I practically haven't used Zoom since COVID. Participants maybe? No, that's not the right button. Okay. View. Sorry, 1 second. Gallery. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. So everyone can hear me. 2 thumbs up if you could hear me. There we go. Okay, it's nice to see the people that I'm talking with. Okay, so I guess I'll share with you a story that some of you may have heard and some of you may not have heard. Some of you maybe weren't even born yet, because the story happened almost 11 years ago, and it happened when we were looking to buy a new desk for my house, and we were looking, trying to find the right one. We finally found a desk that was just the right desk for our house, and we went to a person's home to buy the desk. It was a second-hand desk, and I went with a friend, and we loaded the desk into my minivan, and we brought it home, and we went to bring it into my house. Brought it into my house. I went to bring it into the office, and there was a problem. The desk wouldn't fit through the door of the office. It was just too big to fit through, a tiny bit too big. Now, at the time, this seemed very disappointing, because like, we just bought this desk. We spent so much time and effort trying to get it and schlep it in the car and get it to our house. And now it wasn't going to fit into the office where we bought it for. And we realized that if we took the top of the desk off, the bottom of the desk was a little bit narrower and it should fit through. And then there was little screws underneath the desk. If we unscrewed it, it should fit. Take the top off and it should fit. So that's what we did. We took the top of the desk off. And when we did that, on the side of the desk, there were these big file cabinet drawers. Sorry, there are these big file cabinet drawers, and sitting behind these drawers, there was a shopping bag, and I could already see through the bag. It looked like there was some money inside the bag. And I pick up the bag, had a little bit of weight to it, and sure enough, we open the bag, and the bag is filled with cash. And we count up the money in the bag, and there's $98,000 in a shopping bag that in this desk that we just bought from this woman. And I see some people right now with their mouths open on the screen. They're in shock. We were in shock also. By the way, $98,000. I looked it up online, and it says that $98,000 in today's money, because of inflation, is actually $132,000. So, but we were definitely in shock. We were like, how is this happening? This is crazy. This only happens in the movies. But we said that. Okay, we said that this money isn't ours, right? I was at this woman's house. This woman who we bought the desk from, her name was Patty. And when I was at Patty's house, she told me, she said this was a desk that she bought herself years before from Staples, and she put the desk together herself. So he said, if this has always been her desk, then obviously the money that's inside is hers. And so we have to call her to tell her about it and to return it. And so what happened was we called her to tell her about it. Now, the question is, why do we call her to tell her about it? Now, there's a mitzvah in the Torah that's called Hashavas Aveda. Now, raise your hand if you think that this was the mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda. Okay, I see a few people raising their hands and a few people not raising their hands. So there's an important fact you need to know in the story, and that is that Patty was not Jewish. Patty wasn't Jewish. Now, even though Patty wasn't Jewish, so the mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda is a mitzvah that applies specifically for Yidden. And the reason is because really returning, when you find something that someone else lost just in the world, in other words, if people that aren't Jewish find things that are not lost, they don't necessarily return it. It's probably natural they take it and they keep it for themselves. But what happens is, if your brother or your sister dropped $50 or $100 or dropped something that belonged to them, of course you're going to return it to them. They're your brother or your sister. There's a special mitzvah in the Torah that applies for Yidden, the Hashavas Aveda. You have to return a lost object for a Yid. For someone who's not Jewish, there's no mitzvah. There's no mitzvah of Hashavas Aveda. But even though that's true, there is a different chiyuv, a different mitzvah. That's the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem. The same halach and Shulchan Aruch that says that you don't need to return a lost object for someone who's not Jewish, says that if you're returning it to make a Kiddush Hashem, so then there's a mitzvah to do it. Right? That's the praiseworthy thing to do. That's what the Shulchan Aruch tells us. So my wife and I both decided we have to return this money to Patty. And we called her, we told her about it, we told her we found this money, and she was in tears on the phone. She couldn't believe that we were calling to tell her about it. She said that this was money that she got as an inheritance. That means, right, her parents had passed away, and she got this money from her parents, but she said she was a little bit overwhelmed with life. She was going through a hard time, and she stuck the money into the desk drawer. And a few months before this, she took, I guess there was more money. She took the rest of the money out, and this portion of the money fell behind the desk drawer. Now she knew the money was missing, but she didn't know where it went. She figured she must have put it somewhere. She said, I know I wasn't robbed, so I'm sure I just stuck it somewhere and I'm sure it will turn up. And she didn't realize it actually fell behind the desk drawer. And there's no way, if you didn't take the desk apart, there's no way to know about it and no way to see it. So Patty was in tears, literally in tears on the phone. She was so thankful that we called her to tell her that we found the money. And we arranged that the next day we were going to meet her to return the money. So this was already late at night when we called her. So we kept the money. We kept the money in our house that night, and we arranged that the next day we were gonna bring it back to her. Now I didn't need to ask a shayla about whether or not to return the money, because that was pashut. It was God forbid, it could have been a potential for chil Hashem, but it was definitely a tremendous opportunity for Kiddush Hashem. So one thing that was a shayla to me was, I wanted to know if she's going to offer us a reward, if it would be appropriate to accept a reward from her, because we didn't want that it should look like that we did it to receive a reward. So I decided to call my Rebbe from Eretz Yisrael, Rav Moshe Leierfeld, and so it was late at night, so I waited till it was a little bit till it was morning time in Eretz Yisrael, and I called my Rebbe to ask him what he thought, and to just ask him in general what he thought about our decision. So the first thing he told me, this was a few days before Rosh Hashanah, he said, "Wow, what a tremendous chus to have going into Rosh Hashanah." So obviously, Baruch Hashem, I was very assured to hear that. And he said, "You know what?" He said, "Your story is very similar to another story. It's similar to a story that the Gemara tells in the Yerushalmi in Masechta Baba Metzia." And the Gemara in Masechta Baba Metzia talks about Rabbi Shimon ben Shetach. That Rabbi Shimon ben Shetach, that he bought a donkey from an Ini Yehudi. He bought a donkey. It was from an Arab merchant. And when he received the donkey, inside a pouch on the donkey there was this precious gem. And so he told his students, "Go and return the gem to this Arab merchant." Now his students said to him, but they said, "But Rebbe, he's not Jewish. There's no obligation to return the money." Like we said, there's only an obligation of Hashavas Aveda for someone who's Jewish. And he said, "Nonetheless, I want you to go and to return this gem to the Arab merchant." And you know what happened when he went and he brought the gem back? When they went and brought the gem back to the Arab merchant, this Arab merchant said, "Baruch Aloka de Shimon ben Shetach, blessed is the God of Shimon ben Shetach." In other words, he made a big Kiddush Hashem. They recognized that Shimon ben Shetach was a Rav and a Frum Yid, and this is what he did. He didn't have to, but he went and he told them that you were trying to sell me a donkey, but there was accidentally this precious gem and you returned it to us. That made a tremendous Kiddush Hashem. So for me, that was very, very special to hear that from my Rebbe, especially again a couple of days before Rosh Hashanah. So we went the next day. We met with this woman, with Patty, and we gave her back the money. Oh, I forgot. So my Rebbe said, so we wanted to know what about taking a reward? So my Rebbe told us, he said, definitely, if you want, you're entitled to take your reward. But if you want to fulfill the mitzvah to the fullest extent, you could choose not to. So we said, we're going to try not to, but if she's going to keep insisting, so then it comes a point where it's like, okay, it's not like we couldn't use whatever she's going to offer us, and whatever, for all we know, maybe it's just a little like tchotchke or something she got us from Target. So that's actually what happened. The next day, when we went to return the money, she gave us a little gift bag, and we're like, no, it's not necessary, and she kept insisting, and there was a little gift bag, and then so she insisted, and she gave it to us, and then she says, wait a second, she says, you have 4 children? At the time we had 4 kids. She says, because we brought our kids along, so we wanted them to learn about Kiddush Hashem and about being honest. And so she said, I thought you only had 2 children, because I saw in the van last night there were 2 car seats in the van. I said, yeah, we had to take the other 2 car seats out in order to fit the desk in. So she said, okay, just a minute. So she reached back into the bag, which we just gave her, and she took a little bit of extra money out and put it into the bag. And it turns out there was money in the bag that she was giving us. She gave us $3,500 plus the $150 which we spent to buy the desk, and a beautifully handwritten card thanking us for telling her about it and for returning the money to her. She couldn't believe it. My wife and I said at the time, we said, even if no one else in the world finds out about this story, even if just for this one woman, for Patty, it's such a Kiddush Hashem, and it was kedai, it was worthwhile. She was so blown away. She said, if there's ever anything I could do for you, please let me know if you ever need a babysitter. So I told her at the time, I said, listen, I'm a teacher, and it could be that at some point I would want to publicize the story in order to teach people about being honest and doing the right thing. She said, sure, whatever you want. That's sort of how the story ended. And we were left sort of with mixed feelings, because on one hand, we felt like it's a tremendous opportunity for Kiddush Hashem, so maybe we should publicize the story. But on the other hand, we felt like it's weird to go to the media and say, like, look what we did. So for the next few months, we didn't publicize it. We just sort of told our family and friends, but kept it quiet. And then a few months later, when I had a chance to speak with Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky, so Rav Shmuel told us that definitely that we should publicize the story, because whenever there's a negative story about the Yidden, it's always on the front page of the newspapers. So certainly when there's a positive story, it should also be on the front page. We should publicize it. So that's what happened, and the story was publicized, and Baruch Hashem, it sort of spread all around the media. It was all over, all different types of news and TV and radio and newspapers. And Baruch Hashem, we had a tremendous opportunity to spread this message of Kiddush Hashem around the world. But I just want to say, so often you hear a story like this, and you say, like, okay, so like that's a great story. So when I find $98,000 in a desk, I'm also going to make a Kiddush Hashem. I'm also going to return it and make a Kiddush Hashem. But in the meantime, I'm going to go about living my life as I always do. But when that happens, then I'll do it. So I mean, that's an out of the ordinary type of mindset. It's not a normal type of thing that happens to find $98,000 in a desk. But each of you have a tremendous opportunity on a regular basis to make a Kiddush Hashem. I'm going to tell you another story actually that I just heard today. Listen to this story, and it's a story about a businessman that was traveling.
Oh, Rabbi Miro, I don't want to cut your story, but I see there's a children's book written about your story.
Yeah.
But hold it up again. Look at that. Hold it up. The surprise in the desk. I really never knew that they made it into a storybook.
Yeah, so there have been all different types of.
Wow.
There's a Yaakov Shweki music video with the featured in. There's a Baruch Hashem. There've been a number of different sort of like subs, out of things that have sort of come up from this story. But
right.
An author in Israel. Her name was Carol Unger, and she reached out to me asking if she could write a book about the story. And she called me just for all of the details and whatever. And they put out a story. I don't get anything from it, but it's just a nice children's book that tells over the story. So again, if you want to buy that, you're welcome to buy that. And to I'm sure that each of you would have a good time either reading it or reading it to your little brothers or sisters. It's a cute book. So listen to the story though that I just heard today. It's a story about a businessman that was traveling internationally. Okay, he was flying to a different country, and he was waiting to get on the plane. And while he was waiting, he saw there was a bacher that was there waiting to get on the plane. Also, there didn't seem like there were any other Yidden, but the two of them were waiting, and they started schmoozing, in the airport terminal, and whatever they were schmoozing, that was that, and then it came time to board, and they got on the plane. Now the businessman, when he flew, he had to fly in first class because he had to arrive at his destination very well rested in order to go into business meetings. So he was sitting in first class. Now, first class, if you don't know, that's the area when you get on the plane and there are those people that are sitting like in the big, nice chairs, laying all the way back, reclining like with a pillow and a drink and all comfortable when you're going all the way towards the back row to be all crammed into your small seat. But they're sitting in those very nice, comfortable seats in the front. So this businessman was sitting there, and the bacher went all the way to the back of the plane like most of the rest of us, and they was sitting all the way in the back of economy. And this businessman, as he's sitting in his seat, so there was a person who was sitting right next to him or across from him, and he said, "You're a religious Jew, right?" And he said, "Yeah." And he recognized that. He said, "You're like really religious, right?" So like, he said, "Yeah." And he said, "And so tell me, like as a religious Jew, you have like tons and tons of restrictions, right?" He said, "Yes, we do. We have 613." And so this non-Jewish businessman who was sitting across from me, he says, but tell me the truth. When you travel and you're away from your family, you're away from everything, you sort of, you cheat a little bit. You don't eat you don't eat to the same standard. You eat things that maybe aren't really so kosher, or you do things that maybe aren't really, in line with how you normally should act, right? You do that, right? And this Yid looked at him and said, "No." He said, "We're actually very consistent. We always act the way that we're meant to act." And this non-Jewish person sitting next to him didn't really believe him. And he said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make you a bet. He pulls out of his pocket an $100 bill and puts it down on the table between them. And he says, you also put down $100. And he says like this, there's a young student that's sitting in the back of the plane. He's also a religious Jew. I just met him today for the first time and started speaking with him. He said, go to the back of the plane, and I guarantee you, he's not watching a movie. You're going to see almost every single person on this entire plane are involved in watching a movie. I don't know this person. I just met him for the first time. Go back and check. He's not watching a movie. And this non-Jewish person, he took out $100. He made the bet. He goes to the back of the plane, and sure enough, there's this yid sitting in the back of the plane, a young bacher, and he's not watching any movies. He's sitting with a sefer open, right, all in Hebrew, and he's sitting and he's learning with the light on, learning from the sefer, while every other person on the plane is either sleeping or watching movies. And this non-Jewish person comes back, and he's like, he can't believe it. He's like, Taki, you're right. Now, with this person, this bacher who's sitting in the back of the plane doesn't realize is he's just going about doing the right thing like he always does. But he made a massive Kiddush Hashem. And that's really the power that we all have on a day-to-day basis. It means that you don't have to find $98,000 in a desk. Just going about your daily business in a way that you're carrying yourself in a high way, and you're showing the world that you act differently than other people. You're acting as the son of a king or the daughter of a king. That's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity for Kiddush Hashem. I'll just say, I work in a shul, and the words on the side of our shul are Laharbos Kvod Shemayim. That's the motto that we stand for, is to increase the honor of heaven. And really, that's what we're meant to be doing. It's not just a one-time thing because I found $98,000, so that's how I have to act. It's every single day. That's how we're expected to act. I'll tell you one more, Maisa. These things really happen every day, and it's not this. Again, this is a story that happens to be about me just because it happened last night, but it's not me. It's everyone. Everyone does this. Okay, so there was a flight. There have been many flights that have been canceled. There are different types of difficulties with flights the past week, and we've had many different people who have been stranded here in Arizona. Last night, there was a group of three 20-year-old girls that were flying. They were trying to go to California, and they had a stopover in Arizona. And I got a call from someone who doesn't even know me. Actually, he got my number randomly from someone. He reached out to me about 3 girls who a friend of his, their daughter and whatever, and they're going to be stranded in Scottsdale, and they need a place to stay. Now, they were on the plane, and I said, yeah, sure, even though my guest suite is actually being used already by other guests, but I have an extra bedroom in my house. My daughters are away at sleepaway camp. They could use that room. These are people who I've never met in my life. The person who's calling me is someone who I've never met in my life. They landed in Tucson, which is actually, they were diverted to the wrong city because of a storm. And then they had to get back on the plane, and they didn't get to my house until close to 2 a.m. But we stayed up to make sure that they should get in okay, and they should have a place to go. And again, I'm not telling you this because it's something special about me. I'm telling you this because this is who we are. This is what Klal Yisrael does. And any actions like this, when you carry yourself in such a way, that's a special Kiddush Hashem. So that's my message to you, is when you are going out, maybe you're going on a trip at camp, maybe you're going on a trip with your parents, maybe you're flying on a plane. Every single person is watching you because they recognize that you're Jewish. So the question is, how are you acting as a Jewish person? Right? Are you being polite? Are you holding the door for the person behind you? Are you smiling? Are you being considerate and thinking about other people? If you are, then you're making a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, and people think of you and about Yidden differently because of that. So it's a tremendous, tremendous opportunity that each and every one of us have on a regular basis. And Mr. Hashem, just giving you all a bracha that you should all merit to make a Kiddush Hashem every day, all the time, and to have it constantly on your mind, thinking about what you could do. Are your actions in line with what Hashem wants for us to be doing, to be sanctifying His name? If there's time, I'm happy to answer questions, but whatever, I don't know what's normal. You tell me.
I think could you hear me, by the way?
Yes. If it's too late, that's also
I'm not
fine.
sure if it's connected. Yeah, well, I wish I could stay here all night, but it's almost 8:00, and we're gonna do Tehillim now because then I have to go back to my family.
Perfect.
I haven't slept the whole week, and I'm in Washington D.C. now. I still have to get back to Baltimore.
Oh gosh.
So Rabbi Miro, first of all, it's very cool. I forgot that you guys live in Arizona. That's very, very Very cool. An opportunity to do, mitzvahs over there, all the people who come there vacation. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And you mentioned that like you're saying stories that are about you because you're noticing Kiddush Hashem every single day. So as soon as we like open our eyes to notice all these things that go on, I'm sure everyone here could have Kiddush Hashem stories. Yes, not about $98,000 in a desk, but about everything that's the little things that are actually big things. So thank you for reminding us of that.
If I could just say one last thing, and that is that after my story, I had tons of people, including tons of kids, reaching out to me to tell me different stories that happened to them and a Kiddush Hashem that happened to them, and different opportunities that they had to make a Kiddush Hashem. I would just say, I don't know, do people have the ability to contact you? Is there an email or some form that they have to reach out to you?
Yeah, sure.
So if any of you children out there want to reach out to Moritz Siri to tell her different ways or different times
Kiddush Hashem story.
Right, that you made a Kiddush Hashem, or as time goes on, send them to her, and I'd love for her to share them with me. I'd love to hear about it.
Sure. ikidspodcast@gmail.com. Always an option. Thank you so much, Rabbi Miro. Thank you. And thanks for being part of the Tehillim Army. Thank you. Okay, so actually Rabbi Miro's nephews are going to say Tehillim with us in just a minute. I just want to remind everybody that tonight's Tehillim specifically is going to be dedicated for the safe return home of Ori Danino. We just met his mother before I got interrupted. And she reminded everybody that the main thing is Kaveh El Hashem, hope in Hashem. So I want to just remind you how special it is that she can say that, because nobody should ever know how hard it is to be a mommy whose child is in a situation then we feel like there's nothing we could do, because there's nothing we can do except daven, right? And do good things and make a Kiddush Hashem, mitzvahs, tefillah, all that. And rely on Hashem, like really, really, like the same way, like you think like, oh, that's the only thing I need right now. Hashem is the only thing she knows she needs, and she wants us to also reach out to Hashem. And if everyone does that together, a miracle can happen. So we're gonna have in mind that Ori comes home. It's also the 3 weeks now. It started Shava Asar B'Tammuz was, the fast day a few days ago, and we're almost coming to Tisha B'Av. Oh, please, Hashem, we want Tisha B'Av not to happen this year. It should be a Yantef, right? So the Tehillim Army, maybe we could do that, right? What do you think? What do you guys think? You think maybe we could do that so that families could be happy and people could be happy and Mashiach can come and everything could be, Hashem could be happy, Hashchina could be happy again. Okay, so thank you first of all to our sponsor who sponsored this week of Tehillim Army. And everybody hold up your Tehillim. I see so many people holding up their Tehillim. And let's see who we could spotlight just for a second. Hello, incredible Levy kids. Hi, that looks like a yummy drink. There's your beautiful Tehillim with all your place marks inside of it. And we have incredible birdies. Hi, Lele, how are you? And we have the Schreibers. Okay, hi. Okay, amazing. Thank you for using your Thursday night to be here right here. Oh, and let's say hello to the incredible Rachel and Chana Rivka. Hi, where's Chana Rivka? I only see you. She's coming. Oh, hi. Oh, you're Chana Rivka. That's Rachel. Okay. Sisters. It's a little hard, Okay, so we're going to say 2 proclamations to Tehillim tonight, and then the Mishaberach. And then our first parak is going to be Chaf, and then we're going to say Kuf Membees. So we're going to do parak Chaf. Hi, Jacob, boys. Could you unmute yourself? Hi, what are each of your names?
Yehuda. Mordechai Simcha.
Hello, and who's next to you?
Hannah.
Oh, hi. Okay, so boys and a girl. So Yehuda, Mordechai, Simcha. Who's going to say parak Chaf?
Yehuda.
Okay, Yehuda, parak Chaf, whenever you're ready. We're so excited that we have you as our leader today on the Tehillim Army. When we said parak Chaf a long time ago, it worked out that actually Hashem accepted our tefillos because he came from such pure hearts, and some of the hostages were freed. And if that's our focus, then we could really think about it. Like we have to rely on Hashem. So we just daven as hard as you can. Okay? Okay, Yehuda?
Yeah.
Okay, whenever you're ready. Parak Chaf, when you're ready.
I'm not there, Mizmar LeDavid.
למנצח מזמור לדוד.
ינחה אדוני ביום שרה יסעדך שם אלוהי יעקב.
יענך אדוני ביום צרה ישגבך השם אלוהי יעקב.
ישלח עזרך מקודש ומציון יסעדך.
ישלח עזרך מקודש ומציון יסעדך.
יזכר כל מנחתך ועולתך ידשנה סלע.
יזכור כל מנחותך ועולתך ידשנה סלע.
ייתן לך סובבך וכל עצתך ימלא.
ייתן לך חובבך וכל עצתך ימלא.
נרננה בישועתך ושם אלוהינו נגדל ימלא אדוני כל משאלתך.
נרננה בישועתך ובשם אלוהינו נדגל ימלא אדוני כל משאלתך.
עתה ידעתי כי אשרי אדוני משיחו יעננו משמי קדשו בגבורת ישי ימינו.
עתה ידעתי כי הושיע אדוני משיחו יענהו משמי קדשו בגבורות ישי ימינו.
אלה לרחם ואלה לסוסם ואנחנו שם אדוני אלוהינו נזכיר.
אלה ברכה ואלה בסוסם ואנחנו בשם אדוני אלוהינו נזכיר.
המהמה קראו ונפלו ואנחנו קמנו ונסעדה.
המה קראו ונפלו ואנחנו קמנו ונסעדת.
אדוני הושיע המלך יעננו ויום קראנו.
Adonai Hoshia Hamalach Yaninu V'Yom Karinu. And that's just like what Mrs. Danino was just saying. You know what that means? Hashem Hoshia. With everything else that we can say, maybe the government, maybe the president could help us, maybe maybe that country could help us, maybe the army could help us, maybe anything could help us. Hashem Hoshia. At the end of the day, all of those people might be the ones that help, but Hashem is in control of every one of them, right? So that's what she's hoping for, because that makes her be able to get up in the morning and keep, serving Hashem and going, and that's what we have to do, and then we're going to hear good things. Thank you so much. Now your brother Mordechai Simcha, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Kofman Bees. I know your cousins and both of them are the Gerstens. You look just like them. I see, yeah, you look like Henny and some of the other girls. I mean, it's weird to say they look like a girl. I'm sorry. You know what I mean. Okay, I'll be quiet. Kofman Bees. Ready?
Yeah. Maskil David Biotov Amara Tefillah.
Maskil David Bioso V'Ma'ara Tefillah.
Koli El Adonai Ezak Koli El Adonai Echanan.
Koli El Adonai Ezak Koli El Adonai Eschanan.
Ashboch Lepanav Sichi Tzarati Lepanav Agid.
Ashboch Lepanav Sichi Tzarati Lepanav Agid.
Ha'oit Ha'olet Balai Rechi V'Ato Yadata Nagivati Orachzu Ha'alech Tamnu Fachli.
Behisatef Alai Ruchi V'Ata Yadata Nasivati V'Orachzu Ha'alech Tamnu Fachli.
Get Imen Erev Emni Makir Avad Menos Mimani and Merosh Lonapshi.
Abe Amen Urei Ve'im Mimakir Avad Manos Mimani In Dorish Lanafshi.
Za'akti Elach Adonai Amarti Ata Machzi Chalki Be'eret HaChayim.
Za'akti Elach Adonai Amarti Ata Machzi Chalki Be'eret HaChayim.
Akshiva Al Ramati Ki Daloti Me'od Atzveni Me'fai Ki Amsu Mimani.
Akshiva Al Rinasi Ki Dalosi Me'od Atzileni Me'odafai Ki Amatsu Mimani.
Otzia Mimasker Nafshi Lodot Et Shenacha Bi Achil Tzadikim Ki Tikmal Alo.
Otzia Mimasker Nafshi Lahodos Es Shemacha Biachtir Tzadikim Ki Segmol Alai. Okay, boys, before we continue, I'm gonna say the Misha Beirach. And we're gonna think about all of the, like we said, the soldiers, the hostages, and everybody in Am Yisrael that needs protection and help. And we're specifically tonight, Ori ben Einav Efrat. That's this boy and his mother who we met, but this boy who needs to be home now. Ori ben Einav Efrat. So we're gonna say the Misha Berach, Abosinu, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Uivarich Asachaylim, Haumdem Amishmar, Tinu Ba'arei Alinu, Yitina Danaya Saivinu, Hakamem Alinu, Negafem Lefnehem, Akadosh Baruch Hu Yad Bar Suninu Tachtem, Yatrin Mekatzer Yeshua, Uva Ataras Nitzachon, Vikuya Baham Akasav, Kia Danaya Alvicham, Haholich Macham, Yilachim Macham, Mavicham, Voshia Ascham, Venomar Amin. Okay, boys. Well, we know where are you guys from? I don't even know where you live.
From Clifton, New Jersey.
Clifton, New Jersey.
Clifton, New Jersey. Do you want to say anything special to everybody? Yeah, what do you want to say?
A shout out to obviously my uncle.
Obviously.
And my grandparents who are also on the
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. And thank you for being so patient because I made you guys wait the whole night. It's for sure a bigger mitzvah now, bigger schos, you know?
Yeah.
What about you? Do you want to say something?
Yeah.
Yehuda.
Shout out to all my friends in camp. To our uncle, obviously. To our grandparents. To Martzeri.
Obviously. Oh.
And to Old Kaiser.
Ganz Kleisel. Okay, boys. Thanks for joining and thanks for being such important parts of the Tehillim army. Oops. Okay. And yes, tonight we're not going to do a raffle because it's not going to happen right now. And I didn't advertise the raffle or anything because as you can see, I'm by an empty luggage rack. Just so you can see my view over here in case you're wondering. This is not a green screen. I am in the airport. But before I go, I noticed the one thing that I think is very special about the Tehillim army is that yes, some of you are eating dinner. Yes, some of you are playing on the floor while you're doing this, and that's perfect. You're multitasking. That's amazing. You could do two things at the same time. It's a talent to be able to do that. But one thing I do notice is that when Tehillim comes, so many of you stop what you're doing, stop multitasking, and you really sit down and say Tehillim. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but these kids over here, I don't know who you are, but I'm reading Jill Stone. I saw you were saying Tehillim, right? Were you saying Tehillim? Yeah? I saw you that when the boys were saying Tehillim leading us, both of you were huddled together and it was so beautiful. So you're the ones that I just saw, but I want to give you a shout out and shout out to everybody who really, really makes this something very important. And I want you guys to know, you're so cute. And I want you all to know that when I was in Israel just now, and I was there for so short, and I had I was going and going and going and meeting so many different kids and families that were affected by the war. So I went to be able to meet people whose fathers have been fighting, people whose relatives are, got injured and just to tell them that we love them and we're davening for them and we did not forget about them at all. And every day we daven and sometimes, I had to talk Hebrew and is my Hebrew so bad? What do you guys think? How's my Hebrew? It's okay, right? But when I talk in Hebrew to real Israelis, they're laughing at me because I sound like my cleaning lady when she tries to talk English, I think I know what I'm saying and they're cracking up, but I don't care. Because I just want to tell them that we're thinking about them and that we love them and we're davening for them. And the most important thing is that I'm not saying that I'm davening for them. I'm saying that there are thousands of kids around the world who never, ever, ever forget Eretz Yisrael and forget our brothers and sisters there, no matter what's going on. So I gave them messages for you too. Anyways, everyone, I can't wait to see you again next week. Follow the Tehillim schedule. Check it out at incrediblekids.org so that you can make sure that you're saying the prakim along with everyone else. And next week we'll have, hopefully, Mirza Shem back to regular programming, me in my studio. I'm not using the words home sweet home because I strongly and truly believe that my only home is in Eretz Yisrael. My house in Baltimore is just a house, but my home is in Eretz Yisrael. So when I'm there in Yerushalayim at the Kosel, that's my home. This is not my home. So I keep remembering to say, I'm not going home now. I'm going back to my house. I'm going back to the people I love. I'm going back to my family. I'm not going home because what's my home? I want you to say, what's all of our home? You got it. And remember, no matter what happens in your day and in your life and what people say to you and what circumstances you're put in, no matter what, you are all, say it with me, incredible kids. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this wild adventure. Bye.